Good morning and welcome to the Centre of Operations. This is where all my culinary masterpieces start. But before I start cooking, let me just take you on a tour and show you what's what and where everything is. So here's my kitchen. Got my MP3 music player and speaker there, my phone charger, around to my cupboards, my knife rack, some of my seasonings, the cupboard where I keep all my best gin glasses, and my wine bottle stoppers gathered from all around the world, from places as far afield as Inverness, Spain, South Africa. If you're wondering what's in that glass, no, it's not gin, it's water. Past my cooker, my food processor, fruit bowl, my utensils hanging rack. Only having a small kitchen, that rack is invaluable. It's brilliant. There we are. And some of the things other than utensils I've got hanging on it. Gas tumble dryer, washing machine, microwave, a few of my herbs on the windowsill. There we are. So as you can see, it's not the biggest of spaces, but I've got plenty of worktops, which is what's important. One of the things I didn't show you, because I've got a small kitchen, I haven't got a great deal of room for a vegetable rack. So in here is my veg on the top shelf. Even though it's in a cupboard, I keep it in baskets so it's easy to pull out and see what I've got. And then underneath, my recycling bags, a few of my tea towels, and a bag full of carrier bags. So all my veg is close to hand in there. So what I'm going to show you today is going to be one of the quickest, easiest and tastiest soups you'll ever make. So let's start by getting out my pan. And my chopping board. Right, I've got 3 apples, 3 tomatoes, 2 sticks of celery, 1 onion, some ginger, and the next thing I need is going to be a stock cube, because I haven't got any homemade stock at the moment, so I've just got 1 vegetable stock cube, but you could use chicken, whatever you've got, and obviously homemade is always going to be better. Now then, the only thing I need to actually peel is the onion, so let's get started with that. Okay, now you don't need to cut it finely, I'm just going to cut it into quarters. And then that's going in my pan. The apples don't need to be peeled. Now, this is based on a Delia Smith recipe, and she says to leave the seeds in and strain the soup afterwards. I'm not going to do that because I like my soups fairly chunky. So if you can see, I've cut the apple into quarters. And can you see, I'm just cutting out the middle bit. It's got the pips in. And then that's going into the pan as it is. So I'm going to do that with all 3 apples. Tomatoes, same, no need to chop them finely. I'm just going to cut out that, can you see, I'm just cutting out the little core bit there. And then they can go in quarters. And then my celery, I've already washed this, so I'm just taking off the end, little woody bit at the end. Cutting each stick into roughly 3 pieces, and that's going in. So again, there's no need to chop it finely. Now then, peppers, a little bit more involved. Cutting off the end, that can go in as it is, just take the stalk out. And then, can you see, I'm just cutting around the centre core there. Taking that out. So I've still got a few bits of pith and seeds. Now again, if I was going to be sieving it, I wouldn't worry too much about those, but I'm not. So I'll just cut out those last little bits of pith and the seeds. And then that can just go in chunks. No need to cut that finely. Same with this one. Just cut out that little bit of pith. That's going in. So I'm going to do the same now with the rest of them. Now then, this fabulous little gadget, which you can see I've smashed the end off, is a garlic and ginger grater that I bought out in one of the street markets out in Cape Town. No need to peel my ginger. I just cut one bit off the end. And can you see what I'm doing? I'm just rubbing it over this. I don't want a lot of ginger. And it's grating, can you see it? It's grating the flesh and leaving the skin on a little bit more, so I don't want too much. There we are, that'll be plenty. If you haven't got fresh ginger, just a pinch or two of dry ginger would be fine. Or you can buy lovely little pots now of easy ginger, it's called, and that's fine to use. Now then, I want to get my brush. My all-purpose pastry brush. I use it when I use my grater. Let me bring my pot a little bit closer. And can you see? I'm just going to brush the ginger into the pot. There we are. Now then, where's my stock cube gone? Here. Put my pot back over there. I use no stock cubes. I find these the best. You get great flavour with not much salt. Just cut it up because I'm not going to make it up first. Then that goes into the pot. And then I've got about 400 ml of water here, but you can put less in and always add more at the end. So that's going in. So there's no flour, no fat going into this soup. Here's my pepper, so I'm going to put some pepper in. Again, it's up to you how much you like. I don't like too much, and again you can always add some at the end. So I've got this lovely little pepper spoon. That's about half full. In fact, let me give this pepper spoon a wipe so you can see it. This is one of my favourite things. How gorgeous is that? I bought it in an antique shop in Bristol about 15-20 years ago. Isn't it fab? Smaller than a teaspoon. It's gorgeous. Now then, how much salt? Again, it's down to personal taste. I tip some into my hand. Oops, a bit too much. And I've probably got about half a teaspoon there. But again, you can add more at the end if you want it. And that's it. I'm just going to chop the rest of the veg now, but I won't bore you with that, and then I'll come back to you in a moment. So I've got everything in my pan now. It's a little bit full, as you can see. So give it as much of a stir as I can. Now I've got my oven lit to gas mark 4. I have no idea what that is if you've got an electric oven, but plenty of conversions online, so you can have a look at that. Right, it's a little bit too full to stir much, but that's fine. I'm going to squash the lid on as much as I can, and now this is going in the oven. So I'm going to start it off for about, I'll give it about 3/4 of an hour, then I'll take it out and give it a stir and put it back in probably for about another 3/4 of an hour, and then we'll take it from there. The great thing about this is it's really quick to do. You haven't got to be too precise with cleaning and chopping and thing. And the other thing is you haven't got to be precise with your timings and your temperatures. You just stick it in the oven, stir it every now and again, and it doesn't matter if you give it an hour longer than it should have really. Everything's going to be nice and soft, ready for when you want to blitz it to make your soup. And for anyone wondering how I've positioned my camera for filming, I've got my little mini tripod wrapped around a wine bottle so that I could position it exactly where I wanted. How's that for improvisation? Okay, it's been in about 3/4 of an hour now, so let's take it out, give it a stir and see what it's looking like. It's going to be a bit hot, so let's get a trivet to put it on. Get a spoon. As you can see, if I can tilt it enough, it's softened and reduced quite a bit. It's not quite as full as it was, so let's give it a stir. So I can get everything mixed a bit better. Oops. There we are, everything's nicely mixed now, so I can get it back in the oven for roughly another 3/4 of an hour. Right, so another 45 minutes roughly in the oven, and I don't know if you can see if I hold it closer. Everything's lovely and soft, lots of nice juice, and it's all ready now for me to blitz. And what I'm using, I've got my food processor and I've got a blender, but what I'm going to use is my stick blender. I find this gives soups a great texture, and the added bonus that it's easier to wash. So let's take the spoon out, and sorry about the noise, but let's get blitzing. up to you how you blitz it, obviously. So you can use a food processor, a blender. You could even, if you cook the veg till it's really soft, just use an ordinary masher, potato masher. But that's about the texture I like. I don't like it to be too fine. And that's why I take all the seeds and the pips out of the apples first, and the peppers, so that I haven't got to sieve it. So all it needs to be done now, if I move it to one side, is to dish it up and enjoy. Yeah, so you can see the texture. I've still got some lumps. And obviously you can taste it at this point and see if the seasoning is right for you. Here we are, let's not be too greedy. And what I'm going to do now, add some Greek yogurt. And I think yogurt gives it much more body and makes it much more filling. So especially if I'm on one of my healthy eating kicks, I'll add a good dollop of yogurt, and then you don't need any bread with it. Just drag the spoon through it to make some, you see that? Some nice patterns in the top. And then the final touch, some chopped basil that I prepared while the soup was cooking. Sprinkle that on the top. And there we have it. One of the quickest, easiest and most delicious soups you'll ever make. And there's nothing else to say now apart from go away, leave me alone, and I can eat it in peace.